Patriots fans, Mike Vrabel just had a pre-draft press conference that was very revealing. Let's jump into it. My name is Aaron on the daily Patriots content. Don't miss out. Hit the subscribe button right now. Hit the like button because you're great people as well. Comment below. My question for you today is simple. Who is your favorite draft pick of all time? You were most excited for, that you remember watching, just pumped about? Comment below. Want to hear it. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to break down Mike Vrabel's press conference that he gave to the media about the draft. As well, we jump into some other stuff, some other big comments that he made in this that pertains to other things the Patriots have done in this offseason. So off the bat, the biggest thing for the Patriots is, what is their goals going into the draft? Again, we already know, and Mike Vrabel already put this plain and simple. He wants to bring in quality players. Very smart. To the point, common sense. Now, interesting quote Mike Vrabel made, in my opinion, a lofty goal as well, is tipping his hand, showing his hand of, hey, this is kind of our expectations going into this draft. So he says this quote, he says, the goal is to add as many quality players and quality people we just talked about. You want to come out, this is it right here. You want to come out with some starters. Now we're going to pause right there. Now you might be saying, duh, Aaron, you're an idiot not to expect starters. But again, I expected it to be starter. Again, left tackle is the biggest need at this moment for this team. We know that. We understand that. But Mike Vrabel coming out and saying clearly, instead of just saying we're looking for someone to start at left tackle, he said starters. So this is what I want to jump into, is based on the New England Patriots depth chart, who do you expect besides left tackle? So we jump into left tackle. Verdarian Lowe, do not expect him. I've said this in a prior video. I do not expect him to start at left tackle. Besides that, what other players here do you expect will not be starting come the beginning of the 2025-2026 NFL season? Now, obviously, you can speculate. Stephon Diggs. Now, we talked about him yesterday, looking great in his workout, doing lateral work, all these different things. So who knows what will happen with him? And we know, fairly confident, that the Patriots will most likely at some point take a wide receiver. But besides talking about Verdarian Lowe, I think some of the big potentials are, again, at left guard. We have Mike Onwenu at left guard. Mike Onwenu at right guard, Morgan Moses at right tackle. And the big question we've talked about is on that left side. So one, left tackle. I think that's tried and true. They will draft, whoever they draft at left tackle has a great chance to start at left tackle. So that's one starter. We look at left guard, again, Cole Strange up in the air. It's even a possibility that he starts at center instead of Bradbury. And if that is the case, then is potentially the Patriots going to draft a left guard that could be starting as well. Layden Robinson, I do not expect. Sidy So, I do not expect either. So on the offensive side of the ball, those are the big ones right there. So I'm just going to say left tackle, left guard. Then we jump down to defense. Defense, this is an incredibly interesting one because the question, again, is Christian Barmore. What is that going to look like for the Patriots? Is he going to be able to come in and start? Again, it's also possible that they bring in an edge rusher that they like, that they think, hey, he is starting capability or in that starting rotation. So again, I think an edge rusher is also a possibility. And then as well, the one that I don't think people are necessarily thinking of is the place kicker. Again, Parker Romo is the current place kicker for the Patriots. Again, I see the Patriots going towards someone like a Ben Sauls, who is from Pittsburgh. Expect that in the later rounds. And if the Patriots take a kicker first, then you will see a trend, possibly other teams going. Again, so those really, when it comes down to it, if I had to guess, obviously number one, left tackle, possibly left tackle, left guard, kicker, as well as potentially an edge rusher. Those would be my guesses. Again, you're probably saying, Aaron, they have Keon White and they have Harold Landry. Yes, that is true. But I'm saying coming in as, again, rotational starter. But we will see what happens. But those are the big ones I think of. So off the bat, here's my question. And again, I think it's a lofty goal, again, to say starters. Again, the Patriots are going in thinking, and I love this positivity. I love this glass half full idea of we are going in, we are getting the best quality guys, and we expect some starters out of it. So I think that's great. Who on this one? What do you think about that comment? Two, who do you expect? What positions do you expect? Hey, they can get starters at these positions. Comment below. Next up, he also talks about, if you continue that, he says you want to come out with some depth role players that can build the depth on the roster. Again, I think that's going to be defensive tackle as well as a running back at that third string spot, potentially good enough to be at that second string spot, getting some more carries. Backup players, situational players. But again, the fact that he is, at 9 picks, you're getting a lot of guys. That is a lot of guys for this. I believe the team that has the most is the Ravens with 11, so only 2 more. But again, I think this is big for the Patriots. I think it's a lofty goal. Is it possible? Yes. If things fall in place, I think the Patriots can definitely come out with some starters. The question again for you, what's your thought on Mike Vrabel's comment? And 2, what do you think the positions are? You might agree with me. You might say, nope, this position, this position, this position. So tell me what you think. Now, as well, one other thing he said in the same kind of realm of conversation, he said there's a great alignment between Elliott Wolf, Ryan Cowden, and himself, the rest of the coaching staffs, the scouts. So again, they're all on the same page. They going into it, they are going to have a plan A all the way down to plan Z, which is insane. But that is what they are going to do. Again, this is super random, but an analogy for you is years ago, seven years ago, I was working part-time for Delta Airlines, and I used to fly standby. So fun fact, maybe someone out there works for an airline. You get to fly standby. It was awesome. It was great. I traveled the world. It was a lot of fun. My wife and I loved it. I would have to, if she was like, Aaron, I want to go to Cancun, I would say, perfect. Here's the deal. We are going to map out as many different scenarios we can go through to figure out how the heck we get to Cancun. And I loved it because it was a puzzle, and it was a journey, and it was an adventure. I loved it. And so I would figure out, all right, if we can't get on this flight, then we have to do this. If we can't do this, we have to do this. It was a ton of fun. If you're like, I want to do that, man, go get a job for an airline. It's awesome. Anyways, we continue. He made some comments about Abdul Carter. Again, if Abdul Carter is number 4 and somehow Travis Hunter is there as well, I think they go Abdul Carter. But there's no way that is going to happen. But if Abdul Carter were to drop to the Patriots, I think they take him. He talked about offensive tackle. He makes the comment here, and I think this is also big, that gives the possibility that at number 4, there's someone taken other than an offensive tackle. He made this comment that, do I think there's starters in this year's draft at yes tackle? Yes, I do. So he thinks there's multiple starters that can go in and immediately make an impact in the NFL. There's some tackles that certainly will come and start in the NFL. Boom. So again, the biggest thing the Patriots want is, and he said this as well, we've talked about this, and he's done this more than just this press conference. He's done this in every press conference. He's talked about the draft. He said, we would love for them aligned, meaning need and then the best player available based on their metrics. So if that's the case, perfect. If not, he says, maybe you look at one position where we have a returning starter or there's depth at that position, but to add a premium player, one available, is something that you should probably always try to do. So again, not ruling out any of the other plans. You never know what's going to happen, so we will see. So comment below. Tell me what you think about that. Last but not least, Joe Milton, Mike Vrabel reveals the team's motivation. I don't think there's anything crazy about this. He just says, well, we felt that his reps were going to be decreased. Decrease. Aaron, it's been a long day, guys. Here we go. Reset. We're going to be decreased as we work through the off season. We felt like every decision we're going to try to do is what's best for the team, and that's the decision we ultimately made. So again, a lot of people out there always saying, listen, Joe Milton, that little minority that thinks he is better than Drake May. Again, I like Joe Milton. I best of luck to Joe Milton. I honestly hope he goes into Dallas and he balls out. Great. Again, you don't want to have someone come in and, people just, if something goes bad for Drake May, which we know as a second-year quarterback, he's going to go in there, he's going to make mistakes. Every quarterback makes mistakes. Tom Brady made mistakes. Anyone does. Is the last thing you want is people saying, "Oh, Joe Milton needs to go in there." No, he does not. Best of luck for him going over to Dallas and having that backup role with the Dallas Cowboys. And so, again, if his workload, his reps, and all these things were going to decrease, then at that point, what's the point? They already got a return on their investment, even though I think they could have got a little more. That's what Mike Vrabel says. Trust the process. We will see how it goes. Now, I've had some people say too, like, man, you love Drake May. Listen, you got to jump on the bandwagon. If this is the guy we're riding with, we got to go with him. If for some reason it was a reverse and Joe Milton was drafted at number 3 and Drake May was drafted in the 6th round, it would be the exact same thing. I would be telling you, listen, there's a reason Joe Milton was drafted, and let's say their abilities, you give Drake May Joe Milton's abilities, keep Joe Milton's crazy athleticism and his crazy rocket arm. Him and Drake May have crazy arms. But you take that situation, and I would tell you, listen, they drafted Joe Milton at number 3 because they believe in Joe Milton as a 3rd overall pick and the starting quarterback of this franchise. That is the reason they took him at number 3. And I would be telling you the same thing about Drake May. We should not be stressing over him being traded, though, again, I would tell you, hopefully they get a lot for him. Even, again, they should have got more for Joe Milton, but I would tell you that in the same situation. So we'll see what happens. But again, I like that Mike Vrabel addressed it. Easily could have just been like, whatever, trade's a trade. We got to do what we got to do. Good for him. So comment below. Tell me what you guys think. Any of Mike Vrabel's comments. Again, who's your favorite player that's ever been drafted that maybe you watched as a kid, whatnot? Comment below. You guys rock. On the way out, hit that subscribe button, pound that subscribe button. Do not miss it. If this is your first time, hit that like button, and we'll talk later. Peace.